Hello, welcome back to another video. If you've been watching along with this series that I've been making, in the last two parts I have been going through how I went from pretty out of shape and what I consider a bit overweight as well, to improving my fitness and dropping weight over a several month period. In the first part of the series I explained what my training entailed to be able to increase my power on the bike. In the second part, I talked about nutrition and how I was able to drop a lot of body weight and handle loading carbohydrates throughout my training to give me the best effect in my training while also dropping a good amount of weight. The result of both good training and good dieting meant I was able to finish off, it was about 6 months of training to get up to, I was quite comfortably at about 4.1 to 4.2 watts per kilo in cycling. So all of that, I did do that for a purpose. I had been training for a triathlon for all those months. However, I'm pretty good at running and I'm pretty good at cycling. However, my swimming is not up to par, and I'd hoped that I'd be able to get good enough at swimming to be able to take part in a specific triathlon. However, about 3 weeks leading up to the event, I realised that there was no way I was completing the distance, especially in the sea, which is a pretty scary thing for me to do. So I decided to pull out of the triathlon. The triathlon that I had signed up for was on an island called Spetses. And Spetses is one of the islands in Greece. It is a fantastic island. One of the things that stuck out to us there was the fact that there's no cars allowed on the island apart from for locals. So it meant that travelling around the island is quite peaceful because there was no cars. It's actually one of the only ways you can get around the island was by horse and cart, which is something I had not seen before. It was a fantastic island. It was a typical Greek island with clear blue waters, and yeah, we would definitely do it again. And although I pulled out of the triathlon, fortunately, the organisers did have other events on that weekend that didn't involve swimming. Now, one of these events was a 25-kilometre cycling race that went around the island. Now, because I've been training so hard on the bike over the last few months, I wanted to still go to the island. We had lots of accommodation booked and travel booked. So I entered into that event. I went into it not really knowing what the competition was going to be like. However, I knew I was going to push myself in that race. So in this video, I'm going to go through how that race went and where I came. I actually came pretty high up. There was 170 competitors in the race, some of them recreational, and then I'd say about 50% recreational, 50% competitive. I managed to secure 4th place in the race, which I was very, very happy about. So today I'm going to break down the video. I actually released this video several months ago. However, I never got around to really breaking the race down. I was pretty disappointed with myself for not doing a triathlon. But today we'll run through that whole race and see where I could have got better and see where I was strongest at. So, as I said, it starts out in this square outside this nice hotel, about 170 competitors, and yeah, it started off pretty slowly. There was about just under a 2k lead-in for the race. After that, a motorcycle sort of sounded its horn and we were off. Now, one thing I do have to my advantage at the start here is that I've always been a pretty powerful rider on the top end, so I use those watts to my advantage, and yeah, I managed to get pretty close to the front. Unfortunately, the 3 riders up front really went for it, and unfortunately as well, this was supposed to be a non-drafting event because it's a triathlon event. However, those top 3, I'm pretty disappointed because they didn't do that, and they drafted each other, they worked together. I was pretty hesitant. I didn't know where I was going to place in this. I didn't know what the rest of the race was going to be like, so I did actually hold off a bit. You can see here in the footage that I wasn't laying down an extreme amount of watts. I did realise though, after a few minutes, that I was ahead of the rest of the race. The 3 were at the road, and I was coming to the conclusion that I wasn't going to catch them on my own, so I thought I'm going to play the rest of the race by myself and see what happens. The course that the route is on around the island is pretty undulating. So there is some big climbs, some steady climbs, and some pretty scenic descents as well. However, they are pretty sketchy. There's famously here in Greece, they don't seem to have any guardrails on the descents, on the switchbacks. So I was pretty hesitant on some of them. Now, you'll see here, after a while, I did actually get caught by two guys. You'll notice here that because it was a triathlon bike race, some people are on road bikes, some people are on tri-bikes. You'll see at certain points in the race that having the tri-bike that this guy does actually comes to an advantage, but then I guess on the climbing parts and the technical parts, it's not to his advantage. I would go ahead playing cat and mouse with these two riders for most of the race. Again, there were certain points where one of us would be stronger than the other. I've got some good experience with criterion racing. So criterion racing is sort of in this 30 minutes to an hour time domain. So I'm pretty good at just holding some good watts for a short period of time, and also I'm pretty used to attacks, being attacked and attacking, which was ideal for sort of having to deal with the climbs every few minutes. There was one bit which was, I wasn't very impressed with this guy. I was doing pretty well. This guy sort of being a little bit cheeky and try and take me on his corners. It was pretty dangerous. I called him out for it. I let him go up the road a little bit until we got to the next climb, knowing that I'd take him, and we did. And that bit was a story for the past. By about maybe the 3/4 of the way into the race, it was pretty strung out. I could see behind me that the race was very strung out. It was basically me and these two other riders up the road fighting for 4th place, or 4th, 5th and 6th, I guess. I was pretty determined that I was going to take it. I was giving it my all. I wasn't averaging too much power on this. I think by the end I averaged about 275 watts, so it wasn't too much. So I'd say the last couple of kilometres on the island, on the route, they're probably some of the scariest. There must have been some rainfall at some point, or maybe some water from one of the springs that comes off the hills, and the road is pretty wet. And at one point, my back wheel did let go of me, and I had to save it. But it did mean that I was pretty cautious for the rest of the race around that course. So coming into the finale of the race, this is probably my favourite part of the entire race. I am a big fan of sprint finishes. There's nothing like it. When you sort of get to the line your own, it's a nice feeling, but when you've got a couple of guys, you've really got to fight for it. I feel like it's well deserved when you get the place you get. So this final bit is, I'm not quite sure how long it is, maybe 1 kilometre. I knew that me and this one guy here on the road bike were going to go at it, so I sort of saved myself some power, let him get ahead a little bit, and then sort of a little bit of a slingshot effect, straight through the port. It's pretty twisty through the port there, some nice solid walls that we had to avoid. But I gave it my absolute all. I would then find out afterwards that the guy on the tri-bike was trying to take me right on the last corner. I did see him in my corner of my eye, and I realised that wasn't going to happen. So as you see here, I just I laid down as many watts as I could, what I had left to get over that finish line, and well enjoyable race. As I said, I did get 4th place in this. I do a lot of these things I'm very intrinsically motivated to do these things. I'm not a fan of standing on podiums and whatnot and award ceremonies. They're nice, but that's not the reason why I train and why I compete. I do it I am self-motivated to do so. So I did find out, because I got 4th place, I assumed that there was going to be no award ceremony. I would not be part of that. Usually it's podium places. I later found out, I got texts from lots of people, other athletes that I knew that were at the event, telling me that I had got called up and there was something for me. I never went and collected it. I never went and found it. I just had some good food, and I think I had some wine and some beer with my wife to celebrate it. So will we be going back next year? 100%. However, this time we are training hard in triathlon this time. So I've been increasing my swim training volume a hell of a lot, and we aim to go back and compete in a triathlon. I will likely try and do the bike race the day before, because the bike race is on the Saturday, the triathlon on the Sunday. So if you're in Greece, or you're in something like this, takes your fancy, I definitely recommend coming along to it. Spetses is a very underrated island and location to holiday in Greece. So yeah, if you want to compete in triathlon or in a small bike race, definitely head out to Spetses. And until my next video, make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll get some more content out soon.